Hi there, welcome. Thank you for being here today. My name is Anna and today's class is part 4 in our posture series. So in the past 3 classes, we have looked at how to find and maintain a neutral pelvis, how to keep a good positioning in your rib cage, and how to have a nice neutral neck that is not coming forward but really resting right on top of your shoulders. So today's class is all about how do we take these elements and meld them together and let that be something that we can hold on to as we start to play around with some different types of dynamic movements. So if you have a block, you will need it today. If you don't have one, it won't be a big deal at all. So let's get started down on your back. So let's start off here just in a comfortable position. You can have your block nearby. But just coming down onto your back, you can bend your knees and have your feet on the floor if you like. And just take a moment here, let your arms relax. And notice your breath here as you inhale, that you're breathing up and out into the rib cage. And as you exhale, you're exhaling for as long as you can without feeling like you're going to choke yourself there. Just so that we are feeling kind of that contracting of the abdominal wall with that complete exhale. And you'll notice with that it actually allows you to take a deeper inhale as well. So you can just breathe in and out through your nose with that. And feeling that your neck and your shoulders can still stay relaxed. Now I want you to start to come back to kind of that quote triple S feeling. And so we are thinking about the back of your skull resting on the floor. So the back of your neck is long. Feeling your scapula or your shoulder blades on the floor there on both sides. And then finally noticing the sacrum. So that bone right at the base of your spine. Like that's down on the floor there as well. And don't let this be something that you're really tensing yourself up to get into, but just let it be more of an awareness of something that we're working towards. And when you think of it that way, you might find that it makes it a little bit easier for your body to kind of settle into that position. Now, if you've got a block handy there, you're going to take the block in between your thighs. And so we're going to set up for a bridge pose here. You're pushing down into your big toe mounds. We're going to take the tailbone and lengthen it forward. And so you might feel kind of your lower belly draw down a little bit there. Squeezing the block and then using your glutes to extend your hips or to lift them up. And so even here, right, we're not kind of seeking or seeping energy by letting the pelvis tilt forward and letting the back arch, but we're really holding steady around the pelvis, around the glutes. And then go ahead and bring your arms straight up toward the ceiling. We'll flip the palms up, the fingers are back. Let's take the left hand to the right fingers and start to pull them back. And always a good option for this one if you don't feel like your glutes are working as much as you would like them to, if you're feeling it more in your back and you've really taken the tailbone and reached it forward, you can always take your fingers just right onto your glutes and give them a little tap. That is often a place that responds well to a little bit of tactile feedback or cueing. And switching hands here. Checking back in with that breath. Now you can let your arms come down. We're going to stay up in this bridge, but take the block away. I know, it's a little bit of work here. And let's grab a hold of both sides of your pelvis. And so all you're doing with your hands is just like providing that tactile cue again, and we're trying to stabilize the pelvis. So not tipping forward and not kind of shifting a lot side to side. Now let's start by lifting the right heel up and coming onto the ball of the right foot, and then set that down, and then do the same thing on the left. So heel lifts up, ball of the foot is down. And then we'll just repeat that a few times. All you're thinking about is just keeping the pelvis steady. Now you can stay there or try to lift the whole right leg up and set it down. Then push into that right foot, lift the whole left leg and down. So wherever you are, we're gonna do 3 more each side. It could just be lifting one foot a little bit at a time, right? So all we're trying to do is just challenge yourself, your body, your brain at whatever level you're at. Last one here. All right, and then lower slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. It's like way harder than it felt like it should have been. So let's take your block here. We're gonna place it between your knee joints here. And then interlace your hands behind your head. We're gonna cup the skull and hug your elbows in. Take a big full breath in. And exhale, lift up off your shoulder blades. Feel that complete exhale. And then at the bottom there, hug the sides of your waist in and pull everything down like you're trying to draw your abdominals straight through your body toward your sacrum. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, lift up. Hug in, draw down, and then kick your right leg straight out from the knee joint here. Nice. Keep squeezing the block. Right foot will lower. Inhale, lower the spine. Exhale, lift up. You can look down at your belly, hug in, draw down. Left leg kicks forward there. Keep everything hugged in. Left foot lowers. Inhale, lower the spine. Let's add on there. Exhale, lift up. Right leg kicks out. Focus on holding everything steady as you turn an inch to the right. Now feeling like you're just turning from your spine. So it's really, really deep in there and we're not getting all kind of wiggly in the rest of the body. Back through center, foot down, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift up. Left leg kicks forward. Turn an inch to the left. We're just turning from around the spine. That's how you can think of it. Back through center, foot down, inhale, lower. One more round here. Exhale, lift up. Right leg will reach. Turn an inch to the right. Left arm reaches toward the outside of the right leg, and then see if you can reach the fingers a little bit longer. Don't let go of that hold around the spine. Back through center, inhale, lower. Last one. Exhale, lift. Left leg will reach. Turn an inch to the left. Ooh, this side's harder.
Right arm reaches toward the outside of that left leg, and then can you grow the fingers just maybe a hair longer? Hand behind the head, foot comes down, inhale, lower. Right there with you. Yikes. Can put the block off to the side there. We're gonna roll over onto your side and come up into tabletop. Work is always so hard when you're doing it, but I promise it's gonna feel really good to feel like you have that support and that hold in your abdominals. So we're gonna come into quadruped or tabletop here. So shoulders are over your wrist, hips are over your knees. And now in a previous class, we were using a block on the sacrum. You can do that again. You could do a block, you could do a little ball, or you can just have that kind of awareness of something on the sacrum. So think about drawing the front pelvic points together and hugging that up. So we're not sagging into the lower back here. And you can always put your hands on your body, maybe on those front pelvic points, draw them together, put a hand on your lower back, and just feel that that's staying level. So we've got belly hugged in, pelvic points drawing up. And then take your right hand behind your head and lift your whole face into your hand, right? So if you remember, we're not bringing the chin forward, but we're lifting up. Now take your left leg and kick it back. You can always have the toes on the floor if you need. Maybe hover them. Notice that we're not sagging in the lower back. Take the right arm forward. Neck is staying neutral. You're welcome to stay right here. Maybe we challenge that a little bit by taking the right arm a little to the right and the left leg a little to the left. And come back. Maybe we do that one more time. Right, so we are just challenging that posture in a myriad of ways. Right hand and left knee come back down. Awesome. Let's switch sides. Left hand comes behind your head. Lift the throat up, lift the face up. We're not letting our gut spill here. We're lifting up. We're drawing the pelvic points together. Might really have to remind yourself of that. Right leg will reach back. The toes can be on the floor if they need to be. The left arm can reach forward. Push into that right hand. Maybe we take the left arm out to the left a little and the right leg out to the right. And notice if you start to lose any one of those areas, bring it back. You could just stay maybe with the toes down. Maybe you don't take the arm and the leg out. Right? Just meet yourself where you are. And then we'll come back into that tabletop. So fingers are spread nice and wide. We're pushing into the roots of the index fingers. Tuck your toes under here. And then you can imagine someone like had their fingers in your hip creases and they were lifting you up into a downward facing dog. So you can be up on your toes here. Always encourage it, bend your knees, and then really take your hips high and keep your armpits and your forearms lifted. So just so we're not collapsing into the shoulders. Take a breath there. Let your neck chill out a little bit. We're gonna bring the right leg up. Now bend the right knee, and without turning in the pelvis, just roll the hip open to the right. So that doesn't have to be a big movement, but we're externally rotating in the hip without getting a lot of wiggling around in the pelvis. We'll step that right foot back down and switch sides. Left leg comes up, bend the knee, just from the top of the thigh, roll the hip open, keep lifting up in your belly. You got it, this is tough. And then we'll step that left foot back down and we'll just start to walk the hands and the feet forward toward the top of the mat. Just going as far as you can there. And once you're at the front of the mat, we'll rise all the way up to stand. All right,
Let's get into some bigger movements here. Let's bring your arms straight forward and up. And as you come up here, imagine that you had a wall directly behind you and you could do the skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum all in that line. Holding the arms up, take an inhale and feel your ribs lift straight up without arching. As you exhale, fingers in the hip creases, maintain that as you just sit back in the hips. Hands can come down to the floor. Step the right foot back, lower the right knee, come onto the top of the foot, and let's bring the right hand to the back of your skull, left hand to the sacrum. Imagine here there was an imaginary drawstring from your pubic bone all the way back to your sacrum and your left hand. Hug that together. Moving your face back into that top hand and breathing there. Bring both hands down, floor or blocks. Downward facing dog, left foot steps back. You're gonna try and keep the hands down on the floor as you step that right foot as far forward as you can. So if the foot doesn't get all the way up, you can just grab a hold of the lower leg there and step it up a little bit more. Left knee lowers, come onto the top of the foot. Left hand behind your head, right hand to the sacrum. And then feel that imaginary drawstring, pubic bone to sacrum. And then feel like you can lengthen the back of your neck with that top hand. We're leaning the face back into the hand. Bring both hands down, blocks or floor. Step the left foot up next to the right. Pause here and feel that triple S feeling even in this position. Now it's like the wall where the ceiling is right above you. And you've got skull, shoulder blades, scapula, and sacrum all in one line there. And we're deepening the hip crease. Let's rise to stand. Nice work. Let's do that again. Bring your arms straight forward and up. And feel like you can lift your ribs there away from the pelvis, but we're maintaining the posture. Same thing as we sit back into the hip creases here. You can plant the hands down, floor or blocks. Left foot will step back and then lower the left knee, but not the toes this time. We're gonna bring the left hand behind your head and the right hand back to your sacrum. Now check in with this left glute. It's wrapping down and it should feel like it's engaged. We're not gonna change any of this, but just turn a little bit to the right and back through center. Turn a little bit to the right and back through center. And this should be similar to the core work we did, where it's like you're turning from around the spine. We're not arching in the back, kind of popping the ribs forward, and we're not really changing the position of the pelvis. So just a few things to think about. Let's do that one more time. Hold it to the right, and then maybe reach the left arm straight out and the right arm straight out. Nice. So we're in this turn. Keep that left glute on and wrapping down. Bring your left hand down either to a block or to the floor, and then you can pop that left knee up off the floor. Hug this left shoulder down and push the floor away. You can feel like that left shoulder blade is supporting you. And then we'll bring the right hand down to the floor. We're gonna step the right knee back so that we're in that quadruped, that tabletop again. Now find that good posture here. So the throat is lifted up, the chin's not jutting forward. We're packing and kind of hugging the shoulders down into their sockets. And we've got the front pelvic points drawing together so that we're not collapsing into the lower back. Okay, so we're gonna add a little more demand onto that. See if you can maintain all of that. Step the right foot back
and then the left foot back, so we're in a plank. Tailbone is rooting down toward the heels, and your glutes are really firing there. Now tap the knees straight down. So it's like we were in plank, we just lowered the knees, and then bend your elbows just a tad. Maintain the position of the neck, the shoulders, and the sacrum. And then straighten your arms. Holy moly. Let's do that again. Bend your elbows, straight back. We're not collapsing into the fronts of the shoulders. And straighten your arms. Last time here, bend the elbows. And then this time you can lower all the way down to your belly. I'm gonna come down a slightly different way because I'm rehabbing a shoulder injury. So we're gonna meet up on your belly there. Whew, a lot of work. You do not have to move in huge ways to feel a lot of that energy holding you up. Okay, so let's take your hands under your shoulders. We're gonna set up for Cobra. So before you lift here, I want you to think about rooting your tailbone down toward your heels and then tucking those lower ribs in. So if you imagine kind of arching your back and letting those lower ribs flare forward, we're gonna do the opposite. Tailbone down, hug the lower ribs. And then drag your hands back here. Feel the fronts of the shoulders lift. And then you can lift up into your Cobra from there. It should feel like effort, but we're not looking to feel it kind of crunching in your lower back. So tailbone down, front ribs tuck in, pull the hands back. And lower back down there. Nice. So we're gonna tuck the toes under, knees can stay down, we're coming back up the same way. So hands are firmly planted, can pull back a little bit, and then push yourself back up, plank on the knees. Can you maintain that positioning? Awesome. And then make your way back into downward facing dog. Take a breath in there. Let's take the left leg, can reach it up and step it forward as far as you can. Keep the hands down. You can kind of lift that leg, bring it forward a little more. Right knee will lower and the toes will tuck under. So second side here, bring your right hand behind your head, left hand to the sacrum. That right glute is rooted down. And then hold on to this posture as we turn just a little bit to the left and back. A little bit to the left and back. Keep it going there. Once again, just imagining that you were turning from right around the spine. This next time, we're gonna hold it to the left. Can reach the right arm straight out, the left arm straight out. And then we'll bring the right hand down block or floor. You can pop that back right knee up. So hug this right shoulder in, can lean back into the right shoulder blade a bit, keeping that right glute lifted. Left hand and right knee come down to the floor. Bring the left leg back into your quadruped again. Same setup. Throat lifts, hug your shoulders back, pull the pelvic points together. And then maintain that. Let's step left foot back and right foot back. Holding around the spine there. Glutes are working, throat is up. Tap the knees down. Bend the elbows just a little bit. And notice what the tendency is. Do you tend to drop your head, arch in the back, right? Let those be things you watch. Straighten the arms. Let's do it again. Bend the elbows. Straighten the arms, lift the knees. Plank, still holding on to that. Lower the knees, tap them down. Bend the elbows, and then we'll lower down the rest of the way. Awesome job. Already sweating like crazy. Let's take your arms behind you this time. And then feel the tailbone root down, the lower ribs tuck in, and then you can lift the arms up and maybe lift your chest up there as well. And maybe notice just how that's different, taking the tailbone down, feeling the work of the glutes here, and then also just not letting the ribs kind of pop forward. We'll lower back down, hands come underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes, let's keep your knees down, feel tailbone back. We're keeping the head, the neck, the shoulders, the sacrum in one line. Can you lift yourself back up? Go for it. Nice. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Whoo! Didn't know what you were signing up for today. All right, so we're gonna go into our last sequence here. Let's bring your right leg up and back. Step the foot forward, crescent lunge. So you can soften your back knee a bit there. Feel the tailbone is rooted down, spine is long, face is moving back. Now, let's take the left hand back to your head again, right hand to your sacrum. So we're just reinforcing this movement pattern. Hug back into the hands. Now, without changing this, sit back into your right hip crease to come forward. Nice, so that we are still elongated through the spine. Same general position, different shape. Let's do that one more time. Rise up to stand. And keep it as you sit back into that right hip crease. You can always put a finger kind of in that hip crease to push it back. Now bring your hands together, turning from around the spine here to the right. You can land the left elbow on top of the right thigh. Hold this left glute steady. Reach your spine long. Gaze can stay down there. One more breath. It's a lot to think about. And then we're going to windmill up and around to the back. Feels good on that right leg. Bring your hands down either to blocks or to the floor. Standing L, bring the right leg up. So, relax the neck here a little bit. We're not totally dropping it here, but we're not looking forward. And then sit back into that left hip crease a little bit. Lengthen the spine and reach back through that right foot. You got it. So, next move, we're coming up to stand, so start to push into that left foot. Feel that left glute, ready to work for you. And then we're gonna rise up to stand. Ha! Right knee comes up. So, give this left glute a little love tap. Make sure he's working. And we're gonna step the right foot down, hold the pelvis, left leg comes out to the left a little. Set it down. Right knee comes up. And then feel that right hip crease deepen. Right foot comes down, left leg comes out a little, and down. We'll keep going with that. And just notice here what your tendencies are. I have a tendency to do a lot of things, but definitely to bring my head forward and to kind of arch in my low back, thereby tipping my pelvis forward. Right? So I have my hands on my body, reinforcing what I want to happen here. And so you can pay attention to maybe what your patterns, what your habits are, and do what you need to do for that. Let's go one more time. Nice. And then we're gonna step the right foot back here. Let's do a side lunge to sit back into the right hip crease. Same thing here, spine is long. We're deepening that hip crease. Go over to the left and to the right and to the left. Turn to the front and we'll meet in downward facing dog. One more side, let's do it. Left leg reaches up. Step forward as far as you can there. Keeping the hands on the floor, we'll rise to stand. So you can soften that back right knee. Take the tailbone, reach it down toward the floor. Right hand comes behind your head, left hand to your sacrum. Feel here, faces back, drawstringing pubic bone toward your sacrum. Ribs are staying kind of tucked in at the bottom. Can you keep all of this and come forward as you sit back into the left hip crease? And rise to stand. Let's do that again. Maintain the posture, but sit back in the hip. Awesome. Bring your hands together. Now, hold this really strong, powerful shape as we turn, like from around the spine, really deep. Feel your abdominals helping you there. Right elbow lands on top of the left thigh. Right glute still working for you. Breathe. And we'll release it. Windmill your arms up and around to the back. You can always have the hands on blocks here. Left leg reaches back, so standing L on the right. So you can sit back into that right hip crease a little bit. What we're trying to avoid here is a lot of rounding in the spine. So deepen that right hip crease and then reach the spine forward away from that. And just finding that neutral position of the neck here, not lifting your chin up, but not just totally letting your head drop. Now here we go. Ready? Now push down into that right foot. Use that right glute to help lift you up. It's okay if there's a few little roadblocks on the way. So once we're standing, right glute is on, left knee is lifted. Left foot steps down, right foot comes out to the right a little. Right foot down, left leg up. So keep it going there. And just like in our bridges at the beginning, we're just trying to minimize movement in the pelvis so that we can really get deep into the hips. This is where it starts to get a little bit tricky because now we're not only challenging the body and moving a different way, we're also challenging the mind. And it tends to be when things get a little challenging, maybe we get a little overwhelmed, we revert back into old patterns. Right, so just being aware of that. You can have your hands on your body, checking in, and being okay with being a little frustrated and a little challenged because it means we're growing, we're learning, we're getting better, and it's exciting. Let's do last two here. Awesome. Turn to the left. We're going to sit back into this left hip crease, side lunge. And then take it over to the right. Lengthen the spine, sit back in the hip. Over to the left. And to the right. We'll turn all the way around to the front here. Step your feet together. Come down to a seat. And you can make your way down onto your back. Let's take your feet wide on your mat here. You can bring your arms maybe out to the sides if that's comfortable. And let your knees fall over to the right. Maybe just pushing into the sole of the left foot a little bit.
Breathing some space into your left side. And bring your knees back up through center and take them over to the left. Maybe pushing down into the sole of the right foot. Nice, deep, easy breaths. And come back up through center. And we're just going to come into your version of Shavasana. So if you want to keep your feet on the floor, if you want to take your legs straight out, if your legs are out and you feel a little twinge in your lower back, it might help to roll up a blanket or have a pillow underneath your knees. So just take a moment, get comfortable, find what works for you. And as you lie there, noticing your breath, just becoming aware of this amazing ability our minds and our bodies have to change and adapt and learn. And so that this is always something that we can come back to. And there's always going to be that ability to improve and to figure out something new and to bring it into our movement patterns on the mat and off. Just thanking your body and your mind for their ability to hold you, to support you, and to carry you with strength, confidence, and with love. And let your next breath be a little bit deeper. You can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Eventually making your way over to your favorite side. You can push your way back up to a seat. And as always, just taking these last few moments to observe, to feel. The strength, the steadiness, support, and in turn creates a quality of ease and of gentleness. And let that be something that you can feel within yourself, so that you can take it out into the world and share it with those around you. Thank you for practicing with me today. Covered a lot. So if you feel like it's still kind of settling in your brain, be okay with that. Let that be a part of your process, and maybe this is something that you come back to and maybe you take something new from it each time you do it. So as always, if you enjoyed this practice, or even if you didn't, please give it a thumbs up, and you can hit subscribe so that you will always be notified when I post new classes. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.